Hello, friends. Welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be designing a horizontal layout for the next week in October in my catch-all happy planner. So come plan with me. And I've got this marker here ready to go, along with some different washi tapes I may use, this set of book washi stickers, this happy planner sticker book, and this Planning Things sticker book, which I'll pull from. Okay, you guys, just going to lay down some wax paper and get started on this week's design. I've been wanting to use these book stickers since I bought them, but I kind of feel like they have that moody fall vibe to them, so I just didn't feel like they worked as well for summer. So I'm really happy that fall's here now and I can play around with those stickers. I also thought that they would pair nicely with some kind of moody dark florals as well. So I have this sticker book from the Happy Planner. I think this came out maybe 2 years ago, the Beauty in Floral sticker book. And it's got some really nice kind of dark, but not too dark. There's, it's pretty yet on the darker side is what I would say. So I thought they would be a really good match for just kind of the mood of the books, creating like a library vibe, like a maybe even Victorian library vibe. I don't know if we're going to go that far, but you know what I'm saying, like just using that as inspiration. So I'm going to make some floral clusters here. The two of them were kind of already made, but they're the exact same. So I decided to create a cluster out of some of the other stickers. The florals in here don't exactly all go together, in my opinion. Some of the styles look like they should go together, and some of the styles look like they should go together, but they don't look exactly the same to me. So I was trying to be collective of the stickers that I put together so that it all felt like they were the same vibe or the same styling of florals. So I got a couple of clusters down and really didn't work out much beyond that, and decided to try and see what books I thought I could bring in here. I originally was thinking to actually cut these books down, making the day dividing line like them being peeking up behind the day dividing line because they are quite large. But as I started playing around with them, I decided to just let them be full size. But that's another way I think that these stickers could be used. They could be cut and placed like they were popping out from some kind of background, if you will, if that makes sense. That was another idea. I'm sure in the future when I do another spread with these, I'll probably play around with that idea. But for this one, I grabbed out some clusters of 3 books each, using that rule of 3. Everything always looks good in 3s, so we're going to stick with it since I really don't know what I'm doing with this quite yet. I'm going to do everything that I can in my arsenal, my design arsenal, to steer us towards a good design. So like I said, groups of 3, and I'll play around with which books are in what, just for the size variation, color, and all that good stuff. I did pull colors that I thought would go well together but had enough contrast so they didn't all look the same right next to each other. And I also picked the ones that really had an old Victorian, more of a library feel versus like maybe like a children's book, because there were some like books of poems and children's books spines in there that I think were really nice and whimsical, but I was trying to create a look that all felt the same. So definitely was steering towards those books with similar vibes. So I'm going to start laying some of them in, and that top corner there, I wanted to have one look like they were leaning on the other book a little bit, so that's what I did on that. And then down here at the bottom, I decided to straddle the spine with this cluster, just more for balance. Going back to that whole rule of thirds, placing things in triangular shapes tends to make a good design. So that's what I was gearing towards. And I'm also building up that floral cluster a little bit more as well and making it look a little bit different from the one above by adding a few more branchy elements and also placing it vertically, if you will, next to the books. This page ends up being a little bit tight because I put all 3 books on one page. So we'll figure out how we're going to make this work without also covering up any really important information, I guess. I don't want to put the books right on top of the days, so I'm going to push them in a little bit and line those up, and then maybe put the florals on the outside. Again, more for a balance. Looking at it now, I probably should have used those books on the spine, like a little bit more centered, but I would have had a very similar problem on the right-handed page if I had done that, because the floral clusters would be really close together. So it was either keep the books close together or the floral clusters both together, and I went with the former. So here's where I was thinking to do that whole spooky library vibe and add some cobwebs on top of the books and maybe even the florals. But as I laid it in, I just wasn't in love with the vibe. I just kind of wanted it to be pretty and, just not spooky, I guess. So I decided to go a different way with it. But I was going to use some of the purple from that book in the colorful boxes. However, I kind of realized that the books really don't have any purple in them. The florals do. They all have a little hint of purple, but the books really don't have a strong purple vibe. So I wasn't in love with having all that purple and then the books. I felt a little disconnected. I'm going to try to bring in maybe some other colors, and a little bit of the purple I think does come in later, but it's not going to be the main color. I'm just working with what I have and collecting whatever seems to work within each cluster. So my color scheme's a little bit wonky. It's not real strong, but it's mainly because each of the books has a bit of a different color to it, so it was hard to build out a real strong color scheme. So that said, I pulled in a tan circle sticker as a focus and then layered it with this black kind of quote circle as well from the Happy Planner sticker book. I've also put in some washi tape I pulled from an Amazon set I picked up over the summer. It's got kind of a vintage vibe, and I really like that combination. And then we'll add a little bit too of this darker stripe washi as well. It just has a little added moment of color, since, like I said, the color is a little bit loose in this spread, I guess would be a good way to say it. And just making some adjustments here. Each of my clusters is going to have basically the same items. I do like repetition in my spreads, so each one has a circle focus sticker, a circle quote sticker, that washi tape, the floral clusters, and the books. So you can kind of really see how just repeating those same items in slightly different ways, it can create interest, but also makes everything feel like it's part of the same theme. So I'm liking this so far. Everything's got a little bit of what I like. So let's get ready to move things over and see this on the page. I will make a few adjustments from what I had originally had on the wax paper, because I kind of noticed that the bottom cluster would be much better served all the way at the bottom of the page, like touching the edge of the page. And the same with this one here on the right-handed page, like butting it all the way up to the edge, maximizing the space I have for actual functional content on those days where there's a lot of decor. So we're going to do that, and in preparation, I'm whiting out the black lines in that area so that you can't really see them through the washi and clear stickers. And we're going to go ahead and try to roll off some of these. I will say I do a lot of tweaking because I made some adjustments. So getting like this first section down, just making sure everything is lined up exactly where I want it. Was a little bit tricky, but I got that one pretty much rolled off all in one fell swoop. And then I realized I didn't white out enough of the black line, so I'm going to go ahead and go back and do that on those areas that I missed. And I think we're ready to push them down. Should be dry. And I wanted to change where this washi tape butted up against the books just to give a little bit more of a cohesive feel across the pages. And now we'll drop in this one here at the top. Again, just finding little areas that I missed for whiting out. And this one rolled off pretty well. Didn't have too many adjustments here, but I did kind of push it close to the edge, closer than it was on the wax paper, so I just needed to pick up a few things and make those adjustments. And on this one, because I wanted that first book to be perfectly aligned with the edge of the page, I end up doing these books almost individually as I place them down. So I'll place this first one, make sure that it's all nicely aligned just as I envisioned with the edge, and then do a little bit of that tilt I had mentioned before on these, although I ended up having to do them individually too, as you'll see, just to get the right angle down. I also wanted to make sure they were all touching that line so they look like they were sitting on the line. So just making those adjustments by hand, and then I could drop in this section of stickers, or this cluster of stickers right next to it. And that all looks good. Just drop in the circles and push everything down. Go ahead and separate the pages from each other. It's a little bit hard to see through the dark stickers, so I did need to adjust the cut a bit after the fact. And then we will save any trimmings for future spreads, along with pushing down the stickers. I also need to clean out the holes, specifically down here in the bottom cluster where they overlap the disc punched holes. And I'll just use my precision cutter for that. Just clean those out. Every time I do that, they always stick to my fingers, so it takes a minute to get them off. Let's quickly finish these. And that went pretty smooth. Okay, and the last step here will be to add in my checklist. So I'll just go ahead and use this purple pen to lightly call to the florals. And that will do it, friends. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye!